bust down, Barbiana, bust down, Barbiana. Bust down and pick that shit up. Bust down and pick that shit up. Bust it open.
Hey y'all, welcome back. Y'all like my nails? Yes. So this video is going to be a get ready with me and like a story time. I am going to be doing a Pamela Anderson look, but it's going to be my take on it because I just felt like Pamela Anderson's lip used to be giving, honey, like just giving. So in this video, I will be just talking about relationships and my last relationship. I wanted to do kind of a talk through while you guys watch this beautiful makeup get done. um, my last relationship was 4 years, and it took me a long time to find myself in that relationship, to remember who I was in that relationship, and to actually get myself out of that relationship. Not to say that he was abusive or anything, but it was kind of hard because I felt like when you're in a relationship where someone provides a lot and spoils you, and every time they get upset, they apologize by spoiling you with gifts and just apologizing and saying that they're going to change, eventually you just end up forgiving them always. And I feel like that's what I was doing constantly in this relationship. I would say the first year, of course, the first year is always going to be the funnest part of a relationship. Our first year together was great. I mean, he seemed, well, he was a good guy, and I'm gonna still say he's still a good guy. He's not a bad person, but I feel like when I got into that relationship, I was a broken person. You know, I went through another long-term relationship that I was in for 3, 4 years prior to him, and I was heartbroken, but I don't feel like I ever fully healed from that last relationship. I think I kind of forced myself to put that in the back of my head and keep on chugging on. And then I met him, and like I said, he was a great guy, still is. But it just didn't work out, and it took me 4 years to realize that we were just the things that I needed and the things that he needed, I was not able to give him. And it sucks when the person that you're supposed to love you isn't the one that is giving you the type of love that you need and want. And I think for women, it becomes a point where we try to fight it. Like, we think we know the best, and we think that everything that is happening is forgivable. Like, you can forgive him for this. He made a mistake. What's the thing on TikTok? He's a good man, Savannah. He's just in a fucked up position. I think that's what it says. But yeah, that's literally how I felt the last 2 years of our relationship. I just felt like he's a good man. He just needs to heal, and he just needs time. And I came to realize that no matter how much money someone has, I mean, it doesn't change if it doesn't work. We were just two different people. And the biggest thing I learned in that relationship was I'm not going to let a man think that my non-negotiables are negotiable. The things that I need are not negotiable. The love that I need is not negotiable. And I feel like sometimes I negotiated the things that I needed because of materialistic things that I got. Not to say that I was with him only for materialistic things, because I wasn't. He's a sweet human being and everything was great. But I feel like men get to a point in a relationship where they forget to do the things that they were doing before when they first got you. Being that I'm a very non-affectionate person, it was hard because he was also not affectionate. And we both craved that affectionate, that intimacy, that hold me, that tell me I'm the only one you want to be with, that, you know, and I think after during the second year, we kind of just got used to who we were and we weren't going to change. And neither one of us was going to compromise on the fact that we were both non affectionate people. And I crave that intimacy. I crave that wanting to know that I am good enough for you. Like, I would dress up in lingerie because I love lingerie. And, he wouldn't even like say anything sweet about it. He would just like, oh, you look nice. Are you doing this for social media? Or like, it was never like, damn, baby, you just fine as fuck. Like, it just, it always left me feeling a little empty. And I think that emptiness is really what it makes you feel like, damn, does he really like me? Or does he just like me because I'm just a pretty face? Because I used to feel like that. Like I was just a pretty face, and he just likes me because I'm a pretty face. And he just liked to have a pretty trophy on his arm. I did feel like that. And I tried to move that in the back of my head because, insecurities wise, I used to just think, well, I am a bad bitch, so I guess that is a good reason to be on someone's arm. um, but is that enough to sustain a relationship? No, it is not. um, I will say this: it takes two people to end a relationship. It's never just one. I know there were things that I could have done to be a better girlfriend to him, to love him the way he wanted to be loved, and I was stubborn about it. And there were things that I feel like he lacked. I mean, I also feel like when it comes to being in a relationship, you have to do a lot of self reflection. You have to see the parts of you that you're not willing to change for another person. There are things that I was not willing to change, and there were things that I was not willing to become to be still in that relationship. Um, for one, he had a big problem with how I dressed. He hated the fact that I wanted to be a body positive influencer. It wasn't that he hated that I wanted to be a body positive influencer. It was more so that he didn't like that I was half dressed. He hated when I wore swimsuits and posted on social media. He hated when I wore mesh. Like, he hated when I wore lingerie and posted it. Like, he stifled my creativity a lot. And I let it happen because I felt like, well, this is the man I'm supposed to be with. If he does not like something, I have to be willing to hear him out and be willing to turn it down a little bit to make him happy. And I feel like because of my background, I am Haitian, and I've watched my mom, not in a sense lose herself, but watch my mom cater to my father and making him happy and dealing with just anything. I felt like I had to deal with the same thing. And I felt like in a relationship, you make hard decisions. Like, everybody's not perfect. And as a woman, you sacrifice to make your man happy. And I still feel like every party needs to make a little sacrifice, but not sacrifices to the point where you're changing yourself. And I changed myself because I wasn't who I really was with him. And it took the fourth year of a hard breakup with us for me to realize that I was not being the person that I really wanted to be. And when you stare yourself in the mirror and you realize that you spent all this time with a man and y'all are like best friends, but it was never supposed to be anything but that. Wasted time. Do I feel like I wasted my time? Sometimes I do. But then sometimes I think about the good and the bad and everything that I had to deal with and overcome. And I'm just like, well, I didn't really waste my time. I learned so many lessons in that relationship. And I think people forget that. You do end up learning a lot about a person in 4 years. Once that relationship was over, I had to figure out what's next. And that was the scariest part. Like, you think breaking up with someone is scary because I was the one that ended the relationship because I was not happy. And I knew that there was no way I was going to continue to be unhappy. Breaking up is hard, but what you do after that breakup when you move to a whole nother city and you're by yourself again, that is when the real test begins. And it was scary, y'all. Like, oh, I'm looking up like, ooh, the makeup is looking good. Y'all liking that little wing? I'm getting better with my wing. But that was the scariest part of breaking up was the aftershock. Like just knowing that I was going to get my own apartment, I was going to be paying all my own bills again. And granted, I was paying good amount of my own bills, but like rent, like everything was gonna be on me again was so scary. Like I wanted to move back home to Florida. I wanted to run back home to Florida because that was my comfort space, and I knew I had my friends there with me. But it didn't happen. I ended up staying in Atlanta, and my best friend, she moved up here, and we have an apartment together. And it was hard the first year because I ended up losing my job and she ended up losing her job in the span of a year, you guys. A year after me breaking up with this man. In the span of a year, I lost everything. We were broke. We were so broke. Like, I'm talking food stamps broke, baby. Like, applying for food stamps, unemployment was not trying to give us no money. Like, it was tough. And, you know, you don't realize how connected you are to your last relationship until you're on your own. Because when you're on your own, then everything else is yourself. So that was hard for me to get used to too. And then of course, your ex is always going to come back into your life because that's what exes do, and see if you're okay and try to help and try to, do all these things that they didn't do before. And they always seem like a new person. But you got to stay strong because at the end of the day, you broke up with that person for a reason. Steps that I took to kind of help myself heal and move forward. I worked out a lot. I lost a lot of weight that year. Find something to do because the quicker you find something to do, the more you're not thinking about that person. I also did journal a lot every morning. I did yoga. I meditated. I tried to find little things that I could do to help me move on. I did cry. I cried a lot. And I don't think I cried so much because of the relationship, because I cried the year prior to that relationship. But when I was in my new apartment, I cried a lot. I let it all out. Um, reason I didn't cry about the relationship when I was in the new apartment was because the year prior when we broke up, I was kind of living in the apartment by myself, and he had his own apartment and everything while I was in the other apartment. So I cried a lot about our relationship all the time. So it was like it didn't even matter. Another good thing to do when it comes to moving on is getting out. Go out. Have fun. Like, go to the bars, go to a museum by yourself. I did a lot of things on my own. I went to go see the orchestra play in the park. It was beautiful. I just did a lot of things on my own last year, and it was a good feeling. I took myself to get breakfast, read a book. I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed the idea of being alone. I embraced it. I also would say that I did start to date. I started to date, I would say, like, um, I ended my relationship, was it 2023, 2022? I was on my own. I ended my relationship 2021, and I would say the middle of 2021. So when 2022 came around and I was in my own apartment, I started dating, I would say, in April, and I kind of got myself out there. I was scared, not even gonna lie, but I started dating, went on dating apps. I also went out, met some people. I was scared, I'm not gonna lie. Dating after a long-term relationship is crazy, but I've told myself that I wanted to be single for at least a year and that I was not going to jump into another relationship without knowing myself and loving myself and giving myself that time to heal. So there were times where I was crying and there were times where I was like upset. There were times where exes, and not just the last one, but exes try to pop into your life because you're single and want to see if they can make it work. And the one thing I would say about that is do not double back. Do not double back on anybody. Leave them exes in the past. And it will be tempting, but they're an ex for a reason, and they'll always show their ass and they'll always show you who they are every single time. Every single time. And men who want to take you serious will show you that they want to take you serious. Men who want to take you serious will put the effort in, take you out on dates, message you, call you, check up on you. Men like that are putting in the effort. Now, as in for other people who say they like you, who say they want to take you out, who want to date you, they're going to show inconsistencies. You're going to always doubt, do they really like me? And if you have to doubt yourself with these men, then they do not like you. Always go with your gut when it comes to things like this, because you could think that this guy likes you and he doesn't. If you feel in your gut that a man doesn't like you, then he doesn't like you. And that's just what it is, baby. As hard as it seems, if your man make it seem like he doesn't like you, he does not like you. I will say that I am on this beautiful journey of loving myself, finding new love, growing, healing. Sometimes I cry and I hate crying, and that's okay. And sometimes I hate myself. Sometimes I hate the journey that I'm on. Sometimes I want to yell and scream and be angry. Sometimes I'm sad, but that is okay because the best thing about healing is the end. When you come out this strong, beautiful person, when you find somebody who loves you for you, when you find yourself and love yourself for who you are, when you know that you are always you're never going to negotiate the things that you're not okay with. And I tell this story to say that don't lose yourself in a relationship. It's easier for us as women to get into a relationship and just lose ourselves because we want to please the other person. Don't lose what you love. Don't lose you, no matter how much you love this person. So that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed how beautiful I look. My Pamela Anderson lips. See you guys in the next video. Bye.